How Bill Gates was defeated in 12 seconds. Magnus Carlsen destroyed Bill Gates in just 12 seconds. You've heard about Bill Gates, right? If not, he is a genius, billionaire, not a playboy philanthropist. Tony Stark genius, billionaire meme. Yeah, you heard that right. Magnus Carlsen the genius, grandmaster, prodigy, player. He is the world's absolute best when it comes to chess, aka the god of chess. Bill Gates, who is also a very good chess player. Generally, if your ranking is 400 or above, that means you are a winner at every game, and Bill has a ranking of 1200, better than 3/4 chess players in the world, challenged Magnus for a match. Magnus, who is at the top, having a rating of massive 2800 with 125 wins and 0 losses, accepted the challenge. What happens when real-life Tony Stark matches with the god of chess? Let's find out. After sitting together for class, Gates opens with his first move with e4, a very common opening. Magnus plays the modified version of the Scandinavian defense, which easily cuts out Bill's opening move. Let me remind you, Magnus started the match with 30 seconds on his clock, while Bill had 2 whole minutes. Bill plays his next move, moves his knight to the f3. Looking to counter this move, Magnus brings out his knight to c6 in an instant. The board has now become a mirror arising from Magnus's the Ninzowitsch defense. What's the Ninzowitsch defense? The Ninzowitsch defense is a chess opening characterized by the moves e4, c6. It is named after Aaron Nimzowitsch, a famous chess player and writer who advocated for flexible positional play. The main idea behind the Ninzowitsch defense is to avoid the standard responses to e4, such as e5 or c5, which lead to well-known and heavily analyzed openings like the Ruy Lopez or the Sicilian defense. By playing c6, Black aims to surprise White and steer the game into uncharted territory, where White may not feel as comfortable. After e4, c6, White has several options, but the most common moves are d4. White aims to occupy the center with pawns and create threats against Black's knight. Black can respond with d5, challenging White's center and aiming to trade pawns in the center. f3. White develops a knight and prepares to castle kingside. Black can play e5, transposing into a Vienna game or a 4 knights game, or d6, preparing to control the center with pawns and pieces. f4. White plays the king's gambit, sacrificing a pawn to open lines and attack Black's king. Black can accept the gambit with 2, x4, or decline it with d5 or e5. c3. White develops a knight and prepares to control the center with pawns. Black can play e5, transposing into a Vienna game or a 4 knights game, or d6, preparing to control the center with pawns and pieces. Overall, the Ninzowitsch defense is a flexible and underrated opening that can lead to interesting and unpredictable games. However, it requires a good understanding of positional concepts and a willingness to play unconventional moves. Bill might feel a little good for a moment having the same pieces in the exact mirror position as the god of chess, but he forgets that he is literally a god at chess. Looking how their poses are during the game, it's evident enough that Magnus is much more confident and looking forward to his next move, unlike Gates, who's trying to keep a poker face. Gates takes a couple of seconds to decide his next move, then moves his bishop to the d3 position. I wonder if he was thinking of the English opening. But first of all, what is English opening? The English opening is with white pawns on c4 and e4 and black knights at c6 and f6. It is named after the English chess players who popularized it in the late 19th century. Although here's the backstory, the main idea behind the English opening is to control the center of the board with the pawn on c4, while also preparing to develop the pieces quickly. Now, this opening can lead to a wide variety of positions, and it is known for its flexibility and positional nature. After c4, Black has several options, including e5, c5, f6, and others. Depending on Black's response, White can choose to play moves such as d3, c3, g3, and e3, with the goal of developing the pieces harmoniously and preparing to launch an attack if the opportunity arises. Overall, The English opening is a versatile and solid choice for players who enjoy positional chess and want to keep their options open as the game develops. Coming back to the match, Bill did not go for the English opening clearly. Currently, both players are on the same level in terms of power at this point of the match. And just right then, Gates makes his first mistake by moving his pawn to the d5, capturing the black pawn on d5 and now giving Carlsen a trade. It seems like Gates is the one on the lead as he proceeded to take down the black pawn. But what this actually led to was Carlsen being able to free the queen, and to be noted along the 4 strongest squares on the board. If he puts the queen there, he is threatening the knight at f3 and the bishop too at d3. Gates does not respond gracefully this time by moving his other knight out to c3 and threatening to capture Carlsen's queen. Carlsen develops his queen to the h5 position, while Gates is wondering that he has world-class champion move his queen because of him. Carlsen's already developing the checkmate process in his mind. Just look at the determination and confident little smile on his face. By far in Carlsen's clock, it has only been 7 seconds, he has 23 seconds remaining, while Gates, who had 2 minutes, has spent 37 seconds, and he is now carefully thinking about each of his next moves. He decides the kingside to castle. Wait, what's castling? Castling is a special move in chess that allows the king to move 2 squares towards a rook on its original square, while the rook moves to the square over which the king crossed. Castling is only permitted under certain conditions. Neither the king nor the rook involved in castling may have moved previously in the game. The squares between the king and the rook must be unoccupied. The king may not be in check, nor may it move through a square that is attacked by an enemy piece. The king may not castle into, out of, or through check. There are 2 types of castling: kingside and queenside. Kingside castling involves moving the king 2 squares towards the rook on the h-file, while queenside castling involves moving the king 2 squares towards the rook on the a-file. Castling is an important move because it helps to develop the king to a safer position, often behind a wall of pawns. It also allows the rook to enter the game more quickly and effectively. While castling your king to safety is considered to be a very safe move, as it makes your king away from the spotlight to a safe position at the sides. But in this case, it's clear from the speed of Magnus Carlsen's moves that he has already predicted all the possible moves that could happen in the game and has already figured out his victory moves. Proceeding further, Carlsen moves his bishop up to g4, and as you may think, this marks the first move towards the end of the game. Gates replies by moving his pawn up to the h3 and threatens to kick Carlsen's bishop away. Gates at the present moment is still as clueless as he was during the first move, wondering what Carlsen has in mind. Magnus moves his knight over to the e5, offering to give up his bishop against the pawn, and making a face looking like he just made a terrible mistake, although this was all just part of his endgame. Gates successfully falls for the bait and sees this as the best moment to have another one of his pieces out. Pawn for a knight. Carlsen responds by taking the pawn by the knight. At this point, Carlsen has 21 seconds left to his clock, while Gates has 1 minute and 15, which is to say Gates has spent 45 seconds and Carlsen just 9. It is very obvious at this point who is going for the win. Bill Gates moves his knight to f5, taking down Magnus's knight, which looked like it was there for no reason, although in taking this knight down, Bill again fell for the bait. Now he realized that there's actually nowhere else he could move. He waves off a laugh and Carlsen also joins him. They both shake hands. A predictable checkmate, I would say. I think we often forget how much people have worked hard to reach at the top, and there's a reason why they stand at that position until they compete against someone who's pretty basic at their craft. It's mind-blowing and astonishing what champions like Magnus Carlsen bring to the table. Always fills everyone up with an experience and so much joy. I think it also helps for the person on the other side if taken in a positive way to motivate themselves to just keep doing better.